Hey everybody, welcome to this new Grace Audio podcast. This time our special guest is John Agesilas, a very advanced, great dancer and a promoter, organizer, but he is going to tell his story. So check it out, Grace Audio. Let's go. Welcome. Appreciate it that you want to spend time with us and share a little bit of your story. And we really appreciate it. And we need it, man.
I'm going to try to keep it short.
We need it. You have to work hard on that one.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So, John, we know you as a host, as an organizer, but also as a dancer, but also as a guy whose sneaker game is on point.
Wow. Yeah, man. Sneaker freak.
I know you have a collection.
I have a collection.
You have a collection. I know you like cars too. You still drive the S2000?
No, I stepped to a S4 Audi.
Hey,
2005 model with a Lamborghini engine in it.
Hey,
yeah.
So it revs up.
Yeah, V8, man, V8.
Wow. So car freak, sneaker freak, culture freak, hip hop lover, jazz lover.
Yeah.
Tell us your story, man. Tell us how it started, where you went, who you met, and where you are right now.
Wow. I came in Holland in 1985. And we came from Ghana because my mom is from Ghana, my father's from France.
Right.
From Paris. And I needed to find my way, in Holland. And, you get to meet friends, people, and you become friends. I went to school. I had to go to school because my mom was like, you need to speak that language so that you know what people are saying about you.
Of course.
People laugh with you, but still say things about you when you don't speak the language. So that was a must. And then, I ended up in the clubs.
Right.
I remember this school party.
Yeah.
In the Bebop, that's like the old Air Club Air.
Yeah.
And I saw these guys.
So to make it clear, you were in Amsterdam, right?
I was in Amsterdam.
Right.
Yeah. Still, after 35 years.
Wow.
And then I saw this style. I didn't understand what that style was because it was a lot of footwork and they were wearing suits. And they were doing some crazy stuff on that stage. It was very chaotic, but the chaos had its charm. And I really liked what I saw. So then I started, digging and searching. Like, you always like something, then you become a fan.
Tell us a little bit, what did you see? Did you see house dance? Did you see hip hop? What did you see?
It was a specific UK club style, really underground. And
which music did they dance to?
Jazz music, you have the Herbie Hancocks, you have the Shahib Shihab, Art Blakey, not in Tunisia, hardcore, jazz.
And this was in what year?
That was, if I can recall, that was 1987 or 1988.
88. Okay, so now we have a time span.
Yeah, I was 18 then, and I fell in love with that style. And the thing is, like, I started going into clubs, and I was clubbing like 5-6 times a week. And you had like different clubs that had different genre of music. So, we had like you had the Roxy on Sunday afternoon that had this jazz party, more bebop, take you back to the Charleston, and everybody was supposed to dress, like the 1940s. And then you had Havana that was in the gay street, the Regulis Dwarsstraat. And that was a club, like a 1-story high. And then they had like hardcore jazz music, and you had a lot of jazz dancers coming. So you had like people from France, because France used to do jazz rock. That was a jazz style in France. And then you had the UK, different areas in London. And then, you had us, the Dutch, that was like, getting into it, but not really into it yet. And this is where I got in touch with that style. And then you had a very dope night in a Paradiso that was called the Jazz Bop. And I remember the Jazz Bop organized a jazz dance competition. And this is where we got in touch with, the dancers that was doing that style in the UK. And I remember there was Giles Peterson was also there, Graham B., Casey the Funkaholic, Cassie Six, who was like one of the main DJs that was really...
Did you have a nickname back then?
Nah, they were just calling me John, man.
Right.
My name is actually...
Tell us your name, man. Tell us your name.
Jean-Charles.
Hey.
But the thing is, because that was too complicated for people to pronounce it, a friend of mine made that name John. It was like, you know what, we're going to call you John, man, because this is too much, all that, Charles, whatever. So that became my name since 1986. So
your birth name isn't even John?
No, it's not, man.
Okay.
But that's all good.
It's
know?
Good. It's
It's keep it John.
Yeah.
The whole world knows John.
Yeah.
And so this was like, the jazz thing. And then there was, I was very much into the hip hop scene. Also from early 1980, also 1980, 86, 87.
Can you name us a few artists so the people know what we're talking about, right?
Big Daddy Kane,
right?
EPMD,
little bum. I take the kick.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
KRS-One,
Hey,
Diggable Planets, Urban Source, Mos Def. Man, there's so much.
Public Enemy,
Queen Latifah. That's Afrofuturism. Public Enemy. That's activism.
Yep.
How do you call it? Man, there's
Those
so
cats.
many.
Yeah.
De La Soul, Jungle Brothers. So many, man. That was especially when you talk about, Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, and you talk about, Tribe Called Quest and Urban Source. That was like really, I felt really Digital Underground. I felt really attached to that style because you had a connection with Africa. Jungle Brothers was very much talking about Africa.
Yeah.
And then next to that, we was going to clubs like Escape, Imperium.
Yeah, Rotterdam, Imperium.
Yeah, man. Challenge, Metropole in Zandam. And we heard about this party that was happening in Roxy on Thursday nights. And, somebody was like, yo, y'all need to go there because that's really your stuff, man. They play a different type of hip-hop, boom bap.
Yeah.
It was like, Roxy? Roxy's a gay club, man.
Yeah.
No, but you need to go. Thursday's dope. So it was a party called Baseline. And Casey the Funkaholic was playing at Baseline. So then we got in that club on the Thursday night.
Yeah.
And it was really dope. So that was like, it became tradition to go to Baseline on Thursday nights. But we're also very curious about what was happening in that club on different days. So then it looked like a private club, so you were not always allowed to get in that club. It was young, man. It was like, what, 18?
Yeah.
17, 18.
And
so
how
then,
did you get in then? Because
we kind of, you need to get in touch with the doorman.
Yeah.
You need to know the doorman.
Yeah.
And funny enough, like one of the doormen, Ron, was family of Esteka.
Okay, yeah.
This Esteka got in the clubs very early. Esteka got in the clubs like he was 14.
Yeah.
So then we got to know Ron and other doormen, and then, we're always coming to the club. And then we decided to go there on Saturday just to see what's happening because we were curious.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as an coming from the African descent and being raised by my mom, and the homophobia is really big.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was getting a different world, and when I got there on Saturday, so Roxy has this this door. Imagine like it's a private club. You know, that little thing open and the doorman looks at you and goes like, you know, you're not allowed to get in, and he closes. So that thing open, and we're allowed to get in. So you had where you can put your jackets. You go stairs down. You put your jacket, and there's this wall. Mm-hmm. And on this wall, you had 200 different crosses, like a cross.
Really?
And that was like, I was like, what?
What is this?
What is this place? But I never paid attention to it because I was coming on Thursday. It never did anything to me. Yeah. Until when I came on Saturday, and the whole setup of the club was different. Mm-hmm. There was like, you know, transgenders, travestites. It was a whole gay community. Yeah. And that shocked me. Mm-hmm. And it was a different type of music. It was not hip hop. Very electronic.
In which way electronic?
I couldn't really. It was. I think it was trance or techno, but I didn't know that type of music, that genre. So I felt like I was not in the right place, especially because of the different setup. Mm-hmm. So then the thing with the Roxy is when you drop your jacket, stairs up, and left, you have the stage. Right. So you have to go stairs up, left, stairs up, stage. It's a totally different crowd, man. Mm-hmm. Different setup, different crowd, different atmosphere. I think we stayed there for 1 hour and we left, and then we went to Escape. Mm-hmm. That was like, you know, R&B, you know, swing beat. That was the time. And then,
so swing beat, for the people who don't know, is New Jack Swing.
New Jack Swing, that's right.
In Holland, we called it swing beat, but
that's right.
In other places, they call it swing, New Jack Swing.
New Jack Swing,
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, Teddy Riley and what was that track called? No, you had Johnny Gill. You know,
Robbie the Right Way. You had the Rock Shaker.
You know,
you had
Guy, Groove Me, baby.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Black Street,
of course.
Yeah, so these were the type of, you know, tracks that they were dropping, and sometimes they would drop a Roxanne Shante, you know, a Big Daddy Kane, you know, all these tracks, you know, on Saturday. So that was more commercial than underground, and Escape was like a big club, you know, and there was a lot of people in there. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of girls, man. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to go where the girls were, you know?
Yeah.
And that made it fun. And the thing is, like, Sunday was a special day because Sunday was more like, you know, cultural, underground, so jazz. You know, you go to the Roxy from 2 to 5, and then you leave the Roxy, you go to Havana from 5 to 12, because it will be from 5 till 9, you will have jazz music. Right. And from 9 to 12, you have, like, you know, hip house, Tyree Cooper, you know, you will have, like, swing beat, you know, R&B, hip hop, you know, and then after that, we go to the club next door, which was Richter. Mm-hmm. And Richter was a private club.
Right.
Everybody was in the Richter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Stars, you know, artists, Hells Angels, Cops, everything was in the Richter. And we wanted to be there because the music was dope.
Yeah.
And this is where I met, like, you know, I met Eddie Murphy.
Really?
I met Prince.
Wow.
I met Pointer Sisters. I met Sister Sledge. I met Jocelyn Brown. This is like the club you want to be as a dancer.
Yeah.
And we were like clubbing 6 days a week, man. We could not stop dancing. Why? Because the club was a place that you will be with your family.
Right.
You know, I had this group.
So actually, when you went to the club, you went home.
Exactly.
Right.
And you know, I got introduced to the house scene, and that did so much to me and for me. I remember there was this. This is like a story I tell all the time. Roxy on New Year's Eve. Everybody had to be at that party.
Right.
And Casey the Funkaholic was playing. Mm-hmm. So bear in mind, like, the DJs that were like following were like, you know, Casey the Funkaholic, Cassie Six, Graham B, DJ Johnson, Rob Manga, You know what I'm saying? These were like the people that we were following, because you need to know your DJs, because your DJs will play the music you want to hear. So these were the people we were always following. And that night, I remember Casey the Funkaholic was playing, and I was in a Roxy. So there was like probably 15 to 20 people, dancers, you know, when I say people, and a long queue in front of the door. And there were like people from London, you know, there were people like from Paris, and there were us, all dancers that wanted to get in that club because we said that was going to be the party. And the doorman didn't want to let us in because apparently the club was sold out and you needed to have an invitation. And I think Case didn't really know that we were coming. He knew that maybe 2 or 3 of us were coming. So then I told the doorman, I think one of us, I don't remember if it was me, one of us said, you know, we need to get in so we can talk to Case. The doorman said, listen, you have like 10 minutes, man, and then you have to come out because you're not allowed to get in. You got no ticket. So we went to Case. I was like, yo, Case, man, there are too many people in front of the door. We can't get in. And he was like, how many people? I think like probably 20 of us, man. He was like, are you crazy? You want me? How do you want me to get 20 people in the club when the party's sold out New Year's Eve? I said, I don't care, man. Make it happen. So there was the DJ booth was on top, I think on the balcony. So you had to get down the balcony, cross the dance floor, go on the stage, go through the backdrop, get to the emergency door, open the door. And then all the dancers would just rush in, bum rush the place. And he would be running back to the stage and then back to the DJ booth because I think he put like a record of 12 minutes. And then everybody was in the club. I mean, this is how bad we wanted to be in the club. The club did so much to us. And then this is why I got in touch with House. You know, it was Gypsy Woman. You know, she wakes up early every morning. That club, you know, la da dee da dee da. So, you know, when the track starts, you have this piano. So you rewind the track, and it was like, what the hell is this? And then because 12 o'clock and everybody pulls up the glass and Happy New Year, and he starts with that track. That's what I can remember. And we heard that voice of Crystal Waters, and the piano came in, and the beat dropped. It was chaos in that club. Bunkers. Everybody went bunkers in that club. Wow. We didn't know what that was, but of course the environment and the people around you made that moment special. So this was like, you know, for me, my introduction to house music. And the thing is like in Holland, we're like really rich when it comes to music. So they were like, you know, always going to house parties. And the thing is like, I did not know there was a certain dance style attached to that music genre. Esteka introduced that style to us because we were in a crew called Name. It's like, you know, 4 members. There was like Esteka Noya, that's like the N. John Agesilas, that's the A. And then you had Mert Mossel, was one like the best hip hop dancers in Holland. And you had Fes Emanuelson. So the 4 people, the crew was called Name. And every time we make a choreography, Esteka would introduce new moves in the choreography. House moves. And it was like, what are you doing, man? What kind of moves are these? Because we're like hardcore hip hop.
So to complete the story of your development, you were first like a hip hop dancer, right? Okay, tell your story.
Hip hop dancer, and then I got introduced to actually jazz and hip hop was going the same time, was parallel. House came later, but I didn't really like house dancing. I loved house music. To me, house was like a jazz on slow motion.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because the French were doing house a lot, but they were like using a lot of footwork. This is where I started loving house. And the thing is, like, when I saw the clip of Gypsy Woman, this is where I saw Khalif, you know, Sekou, Paul, and I was like, this looks dope, but it's just different.
Yeah.
And funny enough, later you started to meet each other, like 2000, I think it was 2008 that I met Khalif. And, you know, and I was, because I was doing the club and I was also in the corporate world. So I was doing dancing for G-Star. G-Star wanted to use dancers to show their clothing and not do the typical normal cliche fashion show. So they would
at that point you were dancing as a hip hop dancer, as a jazz dancer?
Both. I was doing both. This is why they wanted me for the show.
Right.
And a friend of mine was choreographing the show, Gary Nurse. And Esteka was also in the show. And because Gary Nurse is one of the people that I saw doing jazz in the bebop that time.
Cool.
Gary Nurse is one of the members of IDJ. IDJ is like one of the best jazz dance crew in England. Right. IDJ stand for I Dance Jazz. So met Gary Nurse later, got in touch, and you know, you talk and you get in the same scene. And then he was like, yo, I'm gonna choreograph this fashion show for G-Star.
Right.
And I would like you to be one of the jazz dancers. Because I was dancing with different people, and then I met Levi Graham later. Levi was dancing with his brother. And then three of us, Levi, Dave, and I, and Adolf, were supposed to do the jazz for the G-Star show. And then you had other dancers, you know, Murph, Esteka, and Fest were doing the hip hop.
Right.
And then you had other dancers that, you know, they had auditions, and the dancers would get picked up for like all round choreographies. And this show blew up. 10 years.
Right.
Blew up. It was like amazing. We're going like, you know, the Curl Messe, that's like a jeans fair in Cologne. In Cologne, I would meet the French dancers and the Belgian.
Right.
You know, like a magical band that was always coming to Holland, like Spunky, you know, what is Spunky, Flo. I don't remember the other names of the dancers. Jake was also part of, you know, of Magical Band.
Yeah.
But Magical Band was also an inspiration to the French dancers in Paris.
Right.
So the French dancers were dancing for Fubu.
Ah, right.
And we were dancing for G-Star.
Yeah.
So every time we'll have a break where people could jam, and the French will come and jam with us.
Right.
So Yuxon and all, you know, Detson and Fabrice, I know since 1991, 1992. So we go way back.
Way back.
So it's not now that the festivals are happening that we know each other.
Yeah.
So we always kept it, you know, in touch with each other.
Right.
So 10 years later, I decided to, you know, start my own company. That was 2001. I was one of the first ZZ payers.
Wow.
You know, in 2000.
Yeah.
And then I started choreographing shows for Foot Locker.
Right.
For Nike, for Adidas. That was my core business.
Right.
You know, Evisu, Paul Smith, Vivian Westwood, you know, so that was like, you know, what I was in.
To sum it up a little bit for the listeners and the viewers, so you came to Holland
1985.
1985.
Yeah.
Went to the clubs like for 5 years straight up.
No, I kept on going to the clubs till now.
You see that?
I'm a club head. I'm a club junkie.
He's a true
without the
club
drugs.
Head. Yeah. So you did a lot of experience on that side, and you had a lot of contacts, friends, a whole scene, a whole world, a whole place to feel comfortable, to develop, and just to relax and enjoy the music and the people, right?
You know,
the social aspect is really big.
That's what I was gonna jump on. Sorry to cut you. The house culture did a lot to my being.
Right.
It's like it started helping me to see the world differently. Yeah, respect people for what and who they are. So when I came to Holland, I was seen as a minority.
Yeah.
Because true blood African, you understand, we are different.
Yeah.
You know, I had the afro and the curls. I was dressed different. I had the bomber jackets because I was always going to New York.
Yep.
You know, the Reeboks, you know, the bleached jeans, Run DMC, you know, bomber jackets. And I was not respected by my own people. When I say my own people, when I came here, I saw black people, Suriname, and they were, you know, most of them were talking to me like, hey, you're African, man. What's up with you, man? Move.
Really?
Yeah. I was really, like, you know, really being disrespected. And, you know, I remember like just a couple of friends of mine that were like also Suriname that we still stick till today, still my best friends, you know, like accepted me as equal. Right. You understand? And so when you got into the gay community, the gay clubs, you were not the only freak.
Yeah. Everybody's a freak.
Everybody's a freak, and everybody accepts you. So you learn to see the world differently.
So everybody's equal.
Everybody's equal. You understand? Of course, you have to go through a certain period because we like, you know, kids from the street. And the gay community, they didn't want to have kids from the street to come in there and act stupid. Yeah. You know, act different. Yeah. Because there was a lot of homophobia, you understand?
Right.
So that really helped me to see the world differently.
Nice.
You know, and I mean, when you talk about diversity and inclusivity, we was doing that since the early 90s. You know, I was booking dances for clubs, you understand?
Yeah.
Like transvestites and transgenders and heteros and homosexuals. It didn't matter. Now people are like really putting things in boxes. But in that time, everybody was just the same, and it didn't matter what you was. And this is what the house culture did for me.
It changed.
This is why I love house culture so much, because of what it did to my life and my being.
And when did you decide to be this entrepreneur and do business and have these summer dances, have these just the bulls, and have these all these things?
I was not satisfied with the way the dance movement was going in Holland.
And what was the core of that? What did you see or not?
There was a lot of commercial stuff. You know, workshops would come, you know, dancers would come here and teach a couple of aids, cash a lot of money, get out.
Yeah.
And the kids would not remember anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of groupie things happening. Fans, workshops packed, you understand? And when you talk about club, they were not, I mean, the crew things in the 90s were really, really happening. You know, there were like a lot of different crews, you understand? But when you came to the 2000s, that kind of faded, you understand? So I wanted to trigger that. So, because I'm from the club and the battle in the clubs and you know,
crews and stuff like that.
And I was like, what's happening? Where is that going? Because most of the people who were in the crews got older, and you know, you had to provide for your family. And not everybody, you know, would choose for dance, because dance is hustling, man.
Yep.
And it's not just, you know, like it is now, you give your workshop, you judge your battle, you win, you make your money. That was not a core business.
No.
You know, you had to be seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, jack of all trade, master of six.
Yeah.
And then I was a top model for Levi's, also for G-Star. That was also a core business.
Right.
I was choreographing and producing, you know, so I took a lot of experience with me, and I decided to say, you know what? How can we challenge the scene for the better? And I was always going to France and Germany. I was going to Düsseldorf, you know, Global Skills, Funkin' Styles. I was going to Paris, you know, Juste Debout. And, you know, and after having my own theater company, I decided I wanted to do something else.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? That is a platform, a system that could help the Dutch dance community.
Right.
So then I went with a friend of mine to Paris, and I was like, yo, I want to do this for Holland, because I knew Bruce.
Yeah.
So then I stepped to Bruce. I was like, yo, can I do this in Amsterdam? Do a franchise, because that's Juste Debout. You know, different countries got the event and they meet in Paris, they battle, and there's a winner. And he was like, you're the only one that can do that. And I trust you, so you know what? Let's do it. So I did the first Juste Debout 2009 in Agesilas.
And this is because you already had contacts from way back with the French dancers.
And the Germans.
And the German.
I was always traveling.
Yeah.
I was always traveling. And hip hop for me is life.
Right.
Club culture is life. Street culture is life. You know, the roller skating, the basketball, the training on the basketball field. Nice. We are no studios and mirrors, man. We're not even allowed to get in the academies because it's just saw us as street kids. We had to train in a basketball hall. You know, from outside from 12 o'clock in midnight till 5 o'clock with a video and a mattress. Yeah. And the one is playing basketball, the other one is doing choreography. We're learning each other's eights, and then we create a choreography because we got to show the Saturday or whatever. And then this is what we was doing. The whole studio culture was not happening in my time. No. Do you understand? Yeah. So I wanted to bring that back. So then I decided to organize Juste Debout. And then we did it in Agesilas because Paradiso was too full when it came to a program, so we could not do it in Paradiso. So then the year after, it came to Paradiso.
Which year is this?
And that was 2010. And then I got in a conversation with Case, you know, Casey the Funkaholic, and he was like, yo, listen, I want to bring back the dancers in the club like you guys used to do. Can we just sit down and figure something out?
Right.
And I was like, yo, shit is dope. Look, man, you got the music, I got the dance. You know what? We'll organize a battle before the club night. We'll make sure we finish after 12. Dancers cannot go anywhere, and they'll stick to your party. And we'll introduce the club culture back to the dance community. So this is where House Dance Forever was created. So I love house dance. His party was called Casey the Funkaholic Forever. And we put the both names together. Nice. And it became House Dance Forever. Hey. And the thing is, like, my third partner, Luke, was very much into theater and subsidy, you know, and asking for money from the government, you know, and the funds. And he came and was like, yo, listen, you know, why don't we introduce theater, you know? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, people don't understand the difference between a showcase and a theater piece when it comes to hip hop. Right. Let's educate the crowd. And if we do this for house, you know, we might as well just do this as well for hip hop. Yeah. So we call it Hip Hop Forever. Same system. Judges, you know, get to battle, and then the winner comes out and you judge the next edition because the judge is a dancer. So the whole showing left and right, like who's going to the next round, and just sitting there for 10 hours, that's not done. Because when you're in a cypher, you get your ass whipped. The people in the cypher are judges and dancers. It's a club thing. So that I wanted to introduce back. Change the whole battle system. You know, so you choose the best 24, knockout system, 3 come out, 3 call the judge out, and you start battling. But it's very educational. Why? Because the people sitting around will also learn by looking. And you as a judge will have to say why you're sitting in that chair. You choose the best that you feel are on your level. To exchange. But exchange hardcore because it's a club culture.
So it's very much interactive.
Very much
interactive, and everybody's sharing and everybody is learning.
Exactly.
And teaching at the same time.
Exactly. Because a judge will teach you some foundations in the culture while he's battling you. The people around, the crowd who's judging is getting educated because they're going to have to judge as well. You understand? You have to involve the crowd. And then after that, you meet the same judge during the club night. And the exchange is different. And then after that, that same judge that you battle with met in the club night will give you a workshop. So, and most of the judges are also part of theater companies. Because for me, dancing is a start point. You can do so much more. It's not just doing battles and judging and giving workshops. A dancer can become a DJ. A dancer can become a producer. A dancer can become an MC. A dancer can become a rapper. A dancer can do poetry and flowetry.
Yeah.
A dancer can be a dancer. A dancer can be a producer in shows, a director. You can have your own company. You can be an entrepreneur. You can organize. You can produce.
Actually, you're throwing titles, your own titles. You're throwing your own titles because what you're describing is you, man.
Exactly.
It's you.
Yeah. But and to trigger the young generation and to let them see what the possibilities are by being such a creative being.
Yeah.
Was my drive.
Right.
You
so
understand?
everybody who is watching and who is listening, the drive is what's very important.
Yeah.
And to know who you are, because you know who you are. In the sense of you know where you came from, you know what you've been through and why, and the choices you made brought you to this point.
Yeah.
And your drive is one of the key elements, but you are a very social guy too.
Very,
and you became a very open guy.
Yeah.
And an intelligent guy in this sense that you know how to communicate in a certain way and to get your point across and to have your goals met.
That has to do with maturity, though. You understand? I had to learn.
Right.
Because, we're stubborn. We think we know everything. But also something that really helped me, that was the sentence, being a student for life.
Right.
So you can also learn from a 15-year-old. You can learn from a 2-year-old.
Nice.
And you can learn from a 60-year-old. And you can learn from an 80-year-old.
So your openness brought you to a new canvas to
definitely
learn and to open up to everybody.
Exactly.
To anything. John, this conversation is so interesting, but the half hour that we had, it flew away.
Yeah. Part two.
And it feels like you're just doing the intro.
Yeah, I'm just getting started.
Right? We're just getting started because I have so many questions.
Oh, great.
I think we have to have a part 2.
Okay, great.
I actually want to close with one question.
Okay.
So this concept with summer dance, you have this thing you ask, did you want to lose?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This concept, a lot of people say, I don't understand this because we don't know this. We're not losing. You just have to point.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is this thing?
Yeah. That's honesty.
That's honesty?
When I'm asking you, I want you to be honest. I want you to get confronted by your demons. I want you to get out of yourself, look at the situation, and do you feel, was you better than the person that danced with you or against you?
Right.
Can you put your ego on the side and be real?
Do you feel like when people are put in this position that they can really do that?
It's funny because I did my concept in Japan.
Right.
And most of the time people go like, yeah, but you lost, man.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that when you are in that state at that moment, you really feel, if you did lose, that you won. It's crazy. But I did that concept, and somebody, Hiro, asked me that question. So John, man, now I'm going to ask you that question.
Yeah.
Did you win or did you lose?
Yeah.
I was like, and I lost.
Wow.
Because
even though the adrenaline is pumping.
Yes. But the thing is, like, you get confronted at that moment, and that is very psychological. The thing is that when you're in a cipher and you get your ass whipped, you don't want to get out of cipher. You want to go more.
Yeah.
But you have to get out and be honest to yourself.
Yeah.
Come back the next week and prove yourself again.
Let me ask you this last question. Again. We're going on and on.
Yeah.
So if you are a dancer and there's a legend standing across the floor, and they ask you, even though you thought I won, and there's a legend standing across, can you say I won or I lose? Even though it's a legend, you might come in and before you even do one move or one groove.
It depends on what your definition is of legend.
I mean, someone who has has like a heavyweight. Let's say a Muhammad Ali is a Muhammad Ali. He's a legend, right?
Yeah.
But in the dance and the hip hop culture, you have legends too.
Yeah.
For me, you are a legend. That's for me. That's for me.
You just dropped it.
That's how I appreciate you as a person and somebody who brought so many people together and so much.
But has that got to do with your skills? There's a different thing.
But if I look at you and when you dance, my eyes can't even see your feet anymore. Your feet are going like. I'm
but
like,
you know, I understand your question. Would you take away the respect and put your ego in the front and be honest with yourself?
That's what I mean.
The thing is,
because it's hard.
You have to take it apart. All right? There is a legend and there is the skills.
Right.
Yeah, and there is a maturity, and there is a charisma, and there is a rhythm, there's a musicality, being musically.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you got to look at next to the respect. You can be an incredible dope dancer with all criterias, but it can also not be your day.
True.
At that moment,
it's very personal.
You understand? At that moment, it can also be true that legend didn't give all he has.
Or couldn't.
And at that moment could also be a fact that you did not see what that legend did because of the skills he has.
That's what I mean.
We're talking about polyrhythm. Not everybody understands that. Polyrhythm. That your whole body moving on different points in the music and different rhythms and melodies.
Isolated.
Everything. And you would think that you won because you didn't see what he did. But the people around you would go like, whoa. So
what you are saying is to recognize skill, you have to have skill yourself.
Yeah, you need to be mature.
Right.
You need to understand what that person is doing.
Right. So it's also relatively, because for somebody they recognize it, and for somebody else it's like, oh, this the same like person A or B.
Exactly, but it's not. Because there is the upper body, there's the arms, there's the fingers, there's the waving in your body at the same time, isolation, same time, footwork. Get on different layers in that rhythm and that music.
Telling stories.
You understand? Telling stories while you're dancing. Right. And if you're not there, you will not understand what's happening in front of you. So you will say, I win. And some young cats who have that knowledge and been studying, you know, because you don't need to be old to be a legend anymore. That doesn't work that way. I mean, the definition of legend. I mean, there are some people at the age of 30 who are incredible.
Sure.
Incredible.
Sure.
You know, the whole thing, like the older the wine, the better it tastes, doesn't fit every time.
Not in this case. Not in this case.
You know, so I also had to learn that, you know, and that's by always watching, talking, communicating, studying, learning what's happening around me, in front of me, behind me, and with me. Right. Because I'm also teaching at the academy.
Yeah.
And to be able to teach, you need to understand what you're teaching.
Right.
So, yeah, man, I hope I answered your question, though.
You answered it really well. So to close it up, people, John, do you have something to encourage us, the listeners, the viewers, to, let's leave it at that. Do you have something to encourage, to aspire, to drop?
I always say, you know, the whole thing of being a student for life has helped me in many places, and never be afraid to be insecure, and never be afraid to put your ego on the side because you think that's the biggest thing you have. It's not. That could be a demon. And always be open to learn.
Right. So what I hear is to be vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerability is being human.
Right.
You understand?
Because we don't dare to be vulnerable sometimes, because we walk around with shame, insecurity, and stuff like that. But we all have it,
and that's part of life. Being insecure is part of life. Being vulnerable is part of life. Ego is part of life, but that's a tricky one, though.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, be humble, man. Just be humble. Be a student for life.
Nice.
And never be afraid to show your true colors.
Nice.
Just need to know when to show your true colors.
Right. So, John, I really want to thank you. I really appreciate
No, thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
You know, for letting me share my story.
Yeah, and we are not done because we're at 10%. We still have a lot to share, but we will arrange something because it's too important, too interesting to share these things because people are waiting and wanted to be encouraged because we all have dreams, but sometimes we don't know how to act out our dreams. And you are living your dreams. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm living another one now, man. I just opened my new school, so that's another challenge because you want to educate, you want to give back.
Where can we find you?
Oh, everywhere, man. John Agesilas on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok.
Even on TikTok.
Oh my God, I'm even on TikTok. I'm doing nothing with it though.
Okay.
I just have it.
This education you have.
Education.
What is your main goal with it?
To share knowledge.
Right.
And there is a meaning in the name of the school. It's called Foundation. And without Foundation, you're not anywhere.
For who is it?
For everybody, man.
For everybody, even for my age.
For your age, man.
Yeah.
For teacher, for students, for watcher, for admirer, for anybody.
And we have a website. You have a website?
Yes, foundation.nl.
Nice. I will be
and then next to the Summer Dance Forever.
Yeah. All the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. John, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I wish you all of the best. And I hope that this year we can enjoy everything again and pack up the place and groove it out, man.
Yeah, we will.
We will.
Cool.
Thank you very much,
Nice,
John. Appreciate it.